Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be talking about young voters. So as you all know, young voters have never had the greatest voter turnout. It's been oldest voters with the best and youngest voters with the worst. And we can see young turnout is on the rise by a little bit compared to other groups. And young voters definitely prefer Democrats, and they are not very fond of the Republicans, especially young women. They are very Democratic, and just young people in general are Democratic. So, with this data, we know that young voters are Democratic. So, what is going to decide future elections is whether the young voters will turn out or not and support the Democrats. So, I see Zoran Mamdani's recent win in the New York City mayoral primary election as a prime example of this. So today, the final ranked choice voting results were calculated, and Zoran Mamdani won by 12 percentage points. And this surprised everyone, including himself. It was supposed to be much closer than this. And he did this by engaging a new voter base, which was young voters in New York City. And young voters, he used a very anti-establishment and exciting message to get young voters to turn out. And you can see the reddest line is registrations for 2025 in New York City. And about right here is when Andrew Cuomo had about a 95% chance of winning the election. And then Zoran just got momentum, and there was just huge turnout for him, and he caused all these young voters to register so they were able to vote in the primary. And he really allowed for young voters to be excited about this, and he just changed the turnout data a lot, because in 2021 it was mostly older voters, 50 to 70, and there were some young voters in their mid 30s, 40s, but really not many voters that were in their 20s. But Mamdani just excited those voters, and they were the highest turnout. And they beat all the turnout numbers from the old people, which usually turn out in just high numbers. So that was really a change from any election in the past. Zoran Mamdani was able to just excite these young voters, and that carried him for the win. And he used his young progressiveness and anti-billionaire, anti-establishment thing to just excite young voters, and he also used lots of social media, which really helped him out because young people are on social media in high amounts, and his message and his humor on social media just allowed him to catch those young voters, and that really helped him out. So knowing that this defied the national low young voter turnout and carried a very progressive Democrat to victory, we can see that these future elections that will be held in the United States will be decided by young people. And young people will choose our next representatives and our next president of the United States. And it's not necessarily going to be about convincing those young voters to favor Republicans or Democrats, because we know they already heavily favor the Democrats. It's about if the Democrats can excite the young people and encourage them and mobilize them to turn out to vote. And that is really what I think the next at least 10 years of elections is going to come down to. So in 2028, if Democrats find a candidate that really excites the young Democratic base, then I think that candidate will go on to be the victor of the 2028 presidential election, and the next president of the United States will be a Democrat. But if the Democrats nominate someone who is not popular with the young people and is more establishment and really doesn't have this exciting energy, I think when they get to the general election, that sort of boring candidate will not be able to turn out young voters and mobilize support with the young people, and that will therefore cause the Republicans to win the 2028 presidential election. So, with this, I think the most important thing in the next couple election cycles is if the Democrats can turn out their young base. If they can, it'll go great for them. And if they can't, it will not go so well for them. So, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I would love to hear your thoughts, so please comment and have a great rest of your day.